honestly, it definitely has to do with maybe the backlore to Payman and the demons that worship him.
Yeah.
I didn't really understand the nakedness of the people that were always like around. You know, like even up in the attic, they're all like beheaded and naked and like bent down. You know, maybe it was just like
in their baby suits.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was like trying to like this like the most like
you gotta make yourself vulnerable.
The most vulnerable
to your Lord.
Interesting.
Yeah, I did find that really interesting for sure.
Also, Steve was talking about this, and I noticed this too. Not Father Steve, podcast Steve. Like the dead bodies that were with, near Peter at the end, they were around throughout the movie.
They were.
Like the first dead body was at the funeral, smiling at Charlie.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah,
oh right,
the first naked guy, and then there's a bunch of other naked guys. I'm not really sure. Exactly
one of them was his high school teacher.
Yeah. So
I wonder if those were all disciples. I mean, they must have been. Right?
I mean, Payman's a king of hell, and they're all dead. So
no, I thought they were still alive. Those
they were definitely dead. They must have been. No, they were dead.
At the end, so wait, at the end,
we didn't see them get killed. Or anything.
I thought they were dead.
Joanne's the only one with a head, and he's like, "It's okay. Like you don't need to be scared."
No, that was the grandmother talking.
That was the grandmother talking?
Pretty sure. It could have been Joanne, but I think it was the grandmother.
Interesting. Okay, but either way, are all the other disciples dead? The ones that are like all bent down, headless. I'm guessing.
I don't think there's anyone alive there because I mean he is the king of.
He's one of the 8 kings. Yeah,
he's got his hell. Like hell's a death thing.
Were those the other 7 kings? No way.
But interesting enough. So I looked up online too. So it says that Payman's the most devout and loyal of the kings to Lucifer. And it says that he's followed around by a band of demon disciples, and the instruments that they play are like cymbals and stuff like that. And I noticed at the end of the movie you hear like all the twinkling and like the cymbals going on and the horns. I think that's supposed to symbolize his demon army kind of around him, which is pretty cool.
Wow. Yeah, dude, I really loved like the sound.
Yeah,
to this movie.
It's cool because I think all the sound had like deeper symbolism. I think everything in the movie had a deeper symbolism. I think, which is really
I liked
cool.
how the final song they played as Peter was walking to the treehouse. It wasn't like a spooky song. It was just kind of like it was kind of a victorious song, like Payman won. It wasn't like a dark thing, like dun 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 dun. It was a nice like all right, Payman won. It was kind of eerie, but like. It wasn't like a scary thing. Like it was over.
It's interesting too because it says that once you do like all the sacrifices and you conjure him, he like gives like all this information about like the earth and like worldly like knowledge. So I'm wondering if like when they were like producing it or like making the film, if they didn't like depict him as like a evil one, because it says that he's also like one of the more like.
I was gonna make this case.
Mellow. He's like one of the more mellow kings of hell.
when you summon him the right way.
So maybe he's not necessarily
like
bad.
Dude, I thought it was a hot take. Damn. Beat me to it.
I'm sorry.
We all did our research.
The final quote of the movie is: "Give us your knowledge of all secret things. Give us your honor, wealth, and good familiars. Bind all men to our will, as we have bound ourselves from now and ever to yours. Hail, Payman."
Yeah, that sounded kind of like a regular prayer towards the end, like after the part where they said we shunned the Trinity and all that stuff.
It's also interesting too that I mean, like as in like real life right now, satanic worshippers and stuff like that. I know like that has a bad rap, but I'm pretty sure like Satanism
got a bad rap.
Well, I'm pretty sure Satanism is actually just like the worship of like nature, and
really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like as like a religion, because I looked up too. There's a symbol. I'm gonna look it up. But I'm pretty sure the whole reason why it goes against anti like Christ and anti God is I'm pretty sure Satanism when it started was just going against the hierarchy and the order of the church and how the church is bad. And I mean, as we've seen in modern day with like priests, it's definitely some wrong that goes in the Catholic Church and stuff like that. So
that's interesting.
I'm pretty sure that honestly, in some way, I'm pretty sure they're alluding to that in this movie. And maybe they're trying to show like obviously they're not. It's not good. They're beheading people. But I don't know. I mean, maybe like you said, where it didn't end on like a negative note with like bad music. Yeah. Maybe they're trying to show that.
It opens up this thing of what's good and what's evil. Like I mean, because Payman for his people, they worship him. And they said he's gonna give him wealth and everything. Like, is he a bad person? Not a person. But is he evil if he's like providing this like wealth and
Well,
and honor. Like,
what do Satan worshippers consider wealth?
I'm sure like just prosperity and like stuff like that. Like I'm sure like
They're
in
just looking
abundance.
for a good 9 to 5, nice house.
Yeah,
Maybe get a dog.
they just want to be. I'm sure people in hell just want to be happy too. You know?
Okay, ready? So this is what I looked up before, where I got that other information. But there's this cross called the Leviathan cross.
Interesting.
And
If you want to see what it looks like.
if you want to see what it looks up, look it up. But it's
Leviathan.
basically it's an infinity sign with an upside down cross with 2 cross lines going through it. And
Ooh, interesting.
it's the cross of Satan, and it says depicted at the bottom is an infinity sign, and above is a double cross. The double cross symbolizes protection and balance between persons. The infinity sign underneath underlines the constant and infinite nature, and almost like symbolizes the eternal universe. So,
And we bound ourselves from now and forever years. That's
So-
the plan.
yeah, right. So reading that, it kind of seems like Satanism and the Leviathan cross isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's actually like more like hippie stuff, like showing the interconnectedness of like spirits
That's
here and in the
interesting.
next world, and maybe even the interconnectedness of like us and animals, us and
Yeah,
nature.
But hippies don't cut heads off of animals. And
Well,
then
right, no, I mean-
tie them to
Right.
sticks.
It's
Well,
way
for
more
former
extreme. It's
rich.
way
In
more
this
extreme,
movie, like
but-
maybe they don't
But
perceive
yeah,
death as
yeah,
bad.
I
'cause
get
it
what
is
you're
hell.
saying. Yeah,
But I mean, also to that point too, like in the Catholic religion, they crucified people too. I mean, like
Exactly.
this is a
Yeah,
supposed to be a
but
good
lot-
religion.
a
but-
lot
Sacrifice
of,
to God,
lot of
you
morbid
sacrifice to-
stuff in
yeah.
the Bible.
Yeah, the holy wars, like a lot of death is always surrounded by religion.
Well, I
so-
really didn't think this movie was as deep as it is, but I guess it kind of opens this whole conversation about what is good, what is evil. We
Right.
That's funny. It's called the Leviathan cross too, because Leviathan is just a word, and it's a biblical word for like a sea monster.
really.
Yeah,
That is really interesting. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I think as we got to that point at the end, I mean, yeah, like you said, like there's bad for sure, like with the beheading and stuff.
that's just weird. It's weird.
Yeah,
Well, I
real
just want to
weird.
make the point, like it's
Nice
for
mythical creature.
for a devil though, it's like it's subjective. I feel like they're evil. I mean, not evil. They're in hell. So I mean, that might be a good thing for people in hell.
I mean, also, so ready to this point. I'm sorry to
death
interrupt
could be
you.
good. Death could be received
Yeah.
as good for people in hell. So it's like
No, definitely right. I mean, it may be, and honestly too, I think as like I don't know, religious people I think are oftentimes very afraid of death in the afterlife, maybe. And like you said,
Yeah,
where
we
death is
shouldn't fear
perceived as
death.
good, maybe this is just like kind of highlighting the fact that like it doesn't necessarily need to be a scary transition.
yeah. And what
Yeah.
you saying? What you say about Satanism is like with the universe, kind of
Right.
go with the flow, I guess.
Yeah,
Wow. Satanism.
not
too bad.
Okay, but
Did
ready?
you
So
learn anything today?
I just want to bring up this quick point. So you said that the Leviathan's like a sea creature, right? Or
Yeah.
a monster.
Sea monster.
Yeah, so I just looked it up. Definitely is interesting how for the Satanism, it's seen as like a good thing. Leviathan is the Leviathan cross. Obviously, as I just read what it was, leads me to another interesting point. I kind of want to get your guys' input on this. But so in one of
Okay.
my classes I took in college this semester, took this Hindu class, and what we learned in this class, and with a lot of other religions and people that are
Eastern
spiritual,
religion.
Huh?
Eastern religion and philosophy, death is embraced almost.
Right, but
if
also
that's
to that
what you're saying,
point,
sorry.
the snake in those religions is seen as this motherly, fertile figure, is also a symbol of eternal life and interconnectedness.
Yeah.
And I know that, and I believe in a lot of Native American religion and spirituality, and this is also seen that way.
Wisdom.
Yeah, really interesting though.
Then you got the Bible.
In the Bible, the snake is the worst, and
Yeah.
like it's the sign of like all things evil. So
The-
like.
He
I don't know. I know this is
tricks
probably
Eve.
like way too deep, but it's really interesting because then you get to this crossroads of like which is actually like which is like the right thing to like not which is the right to follow, but it's like it's really interesting, you know.
Yeah, just how the symbolism differs.
They're so contradictory, and it just really like I don't know. It's really interesting to me,
That
especially
is
where
really interesting, yeah.
especially where for the most part too. I mean, you can look at it on the grand scheme of things too, but for the most part. Hinduism and the teachings of Hinduism are very much so like environmentally friendly
Mhm.
and promoting the environment.
All vegetarians.
Yeah, and I think that is just really, I think it's really interesting too
But
because
they do worship cows.
Yeah.
Right? Aren't cows sacred in India?
They
Okay.
eat their food. Talking about how like death can be perceived as a good thing. It's just a really random thought, but in my I took a Asian art and architecture class in college, and one of the things where like, there was this like this tiger and its cubs were starving. So this guy, it's like a kind of an allegory, This guy climbs up to the top of a cliff, jumps off, kills himself so the tigers can eat him, which is like really weird. Like for our at least in Western like
our perspective.
Yeah. I was about to say that's a very like Eastern philosophy.
Yeah, but like they see death as like kind of a new beginning more,
right?
And we kind of see like death as like this dark, evil place.
We see death as the end, but for
the
them,
American
it's like the
culture as a whole
step.
really fears death.
Which is interesting, and honestly, like I don't really vibe with it that much. Like
death is kind of spooky.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that it's spooky. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah,
like
if you look at a lot, it's a natural part of life.
Yeah, I think because it should be too. I mean, like for something that is so unavoidable, everyone's gonna die. I mean, it is so interesting that how in Western cultures, like the one certain thing in our lives is seen as like this horrifying
we're always
thing.
Running from it.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know. I think it's really cool how in other cultures it's like you don't run from it, but you embrace it.
Yeah,
and,
you
like,
live with it.
You accept it, and you're ready for it to come because, I don't know. I mean, there's
the sooner you come to peace with it,
the
sooner you can live your life fully.
Exactly. Yeah. Honestly, it's really interesting too.
Just like Peter.
Literally, but it's really interesting too because a lot of times too for so in that class one of the professors that guest spoke for our class was talking about his trip to India, and he was just researching the area, researching Hinduism, and when he was talking to the people that were worshiping Hinduism, they made a note to say to him like to make sure that he got involved and like to like be a part instead of just watching them practice their religion. They're like take part of it, like try it out for yourself. And him being a scholar of religion, he obviously went into it with an open mind, but wasn't necessarily like, oh, like something like spiritual is going to happen. And one of the cool things that he did mention, and I don't know, stuck out to me was there's this practice of sacrifice, animal sacrifice, for some of the goddesses in Hinduism. And there's this goddess Hidimba, and Hidimba is one of her sacrifices. She's is an animal sacrifice. That's how you give praise to her. And it's really interesting that so the way they view their gods and goddesses is that everything's interconnected. So if the goddess is happy, then she'll bless her disciples with like rain, good fortune, and stuff like that. So, which was really interesting that stood out to me in his talk was that one time when he was in India, he saw the sacrifice. As soon as they sacrificed the buffalo to Hidimba, in that area that hadn't seen rain in a couple of weeks, it instantly started to downpour. And he went up to some of the disciples or the worshippers of Hidimba and was just asking their perspective on this and was like, is this like a coincidence? You think it's weird? And they're like, oh no, this happens all the time. Like when we do these sacrifices, it's just something that happens. Whoa. And I don't know. For me, I think this is also like, it's so cool how like other cultures, other parts of the world, like I feel like in Western culture, spirituality has kind of been seen as like, like, you know what I mean? Like
we're no longer in tune.
Yeah, we're no longer in tune with our religion or with Western religions. And it's kind of seen as like this like dated thing.
Like cosmic stuff or whatever you want to call it.
But for like other cultures, like it very much so is relevant and like it's not seen as like hocus pocus, like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Where Western culture honestly will oftentimes
it's not science backed, there's no data.
Right.
I don't believe it.
But yeah, I don't know, I think it's just so cool, so like eye opening to see these different perspectives for sure.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It was a buffalo?
I believe so. I could be off on the animal, but I believe it was a buffalo sacrifice.
My God.
But yeah, it was pretty cool from what he was telling us. Like, I don't know. It's pretty awesome. But yeah, I don't know. I think that just goes back into like what we were talking about the movie, like how Satanism is seen as bad, but might not. I mean, yeah, obviously in the movie, there's some bad stuff that went down with it, but
we're just getting back into nature, guys.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's like the whole interconnectedness
worshiping
of nature.
Demons. What's wrong?
Yeah, I don't know. Overall, I would say I thought it was a pretty deep movie. I think definitely with this talk too, I kind of realized how deep it was because I didn't think that we were going to get into like anywhere into like this realm that we just went into.
I kind of thought like, I mean, when I watch, I can't watch horror movies like legitly. Like, I kind of have to watch them ironically because I get scared if I don't do that.
I feel definitely.
So I was kind of was gonna make fun of this movie the entire time. But yeah, as we were talking about, I kind of realized all the deep symbolism and like it really like I mean